You are most welcome. Thank you for having me. We're going to talk about something drastically different. We're going to talk about games. So first a little bit on who I am. My name is Ronald, better known as Funcracker in the online communities here and there. I'm a freelance web developer. I'm a lifelong PC gamer, and I'm a blockchain enthusiast. And oh, there was a nice Dutch flag there, but okay, I'm Dutch. This is my picture. You may also have seen me using my, one of my favorite avatars from way before the blockchain days, so Mike Wazowski. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I am not here today representing any particular company. I don't work for any particular company that's in the blockchain industry, but I am a DAO council member for Atlas, and I am the co-founder of Aephia Industries, which is a guild in Atlas. We're going to talk about both of them today. So, on Atlas, besides being a DAO council member, I'm a two-time Joni Award winner, which means absolutely nothing to you, but it's the official award show that they're hosting more or less every year, not entirely. And most importantly is the last line, I'm the most knowledgeable community member up until this point. So hopefully I can share some of Atlas with all of you. So can I just see a show of hands who here knows about Atlas? Who's ever heard about Atlas? Great, that is two people also. So I will share a lot actually about Atlas and what they're doing. So actually I also have to, oh hey, interesting. Can I get my notes in not Greek? That will be very helpful. I have like 50 slides, so we're going to kind of rush through things. So yeah, Atlas and Aephia is what I'm going to talk about. And then my clicker stopped working. Ah, okay, yes, we're going to start with Atlas. So, I see a mouse cursor on that screen, but I think everything is fine, though it's still in Greek.
But if you have notes, they should be in English.
No, my notes. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. You're okay. Thanks. It's resolved. Cool. So first, some very quick statistics for those who like them. Some may mean something to you. Some may mean absolutely nothing. So first off, Atlas as a game has distributed over 1.2 million compressed NFTs in a matter of mere months. There's a DAO treasury that's currently worth 3 million USD. There are 15 on-chain programs that have been compiled using 53,000 lines of Rust code. Those programs are compiling over 250 different instructions, so it's a pretty impressive tech stack that's running on-chain for the game. At this moment, 2% of all transactions taking place on Solana are Atlas transactions. This used to be, I would say a year back, I think even a little bit more, we reached peaks such as 20% at some point. Not daily, just at any point in time. But still, 2% is actually a low, which of course it's not like something that we like to take 20%, so we're trying to, of course, bring it down. We're currently at 2%. And the annual GDP, the gross domestic product, and I'll get back to that, is 21 million, so I won't talk about it right away. All right, I do realize I also need a glass of water, so I'm going to grab one here. So, all right, very quickly, before we go into the cool DAO stuff, which is why we're here today. Yeah, this works. What is Atlas? Atlas is a game. It's not just any game, it's like the game to end all other games. It's insanely ambitious, so much so that there have been plenty of naysayers throughout the years, but we're still here. And I'm going to, well, hopefully make you believe that it's possible. It's a game, it's a blockchain. It is not a blockchain, but it's on the blockchain. It is an economy, it's a DAO, it's going to be a metaverse. I'm not going to talk about the last bit because I don't have time, but I will talk about everything else. So first off, it's a game. It's a massive multiplayer online game. It is a persistent world, single shard, which means so much as everybody's playing in one big world. If your friends are playing, you can go into the game and you can meet them. You don't have to select a realm, something that you have to do with World of Warcraft. Everybody is playing alongside together. That requires crazy technology, not just on a blockchain level, but also just in the multiplayer level. That's why they are collaborating with Metagravity, and they have experimented with bringing tens of thousands of people in one location at the same time. Pretty cool stuff. It's also a sandbox game, in the sense that there are dozens of star systems you can visit by jumping in a ship and just flying there. You can fly over, you can walk across planets, you can visit any space station, get out, meet people. It's all brought to you in Unreal Engine 5 fidelity, which means it's the best possible graphics out there that exist. By the way, I am kind of painting the end game vision here. It's still in development. I mean, the screenshots I will show you are actual screenshots, but some of the stuff I'm telling you right now you can't do. You can't yet jump in a ship and get out somewhere. You can, well, I mean, you can, but there's nothing to see. You can walk about you can walk across a barren desert planet, but that's kind of it. Which is kind of boring. But of course, the team is developing. It will become really pretty awesome with settlements and NPCs and missions and all that stuff. Anyway, let's continue. As I mentioned, Sandbox, it's an open world. You create your own destiny. You choose your own goals. You create your own journey. There is an overarching storyline. You can ignore it. You can own real estate. You can own real estate on planets. You can own real estates in space. You can build homes, space stations, industrial, agricultural operations. It's the sky is the limit, as I already mentioned. It's also a role-playing game. You can play with a single character, but you will likely own many. You'll need many characters to man your various ship stations, to run your mining operations, or whatever you have. And characters that you are using as such will level up relevant skills. You will also level up various careers and your account level. There will be missions, and there are a lot of factions you can improve your reputation with. So a whole ton of ingredients that you perhaps know if you are a gamer. I have no idea who is gaming here, but please indulge me and let me pretend you're all gamers. Role-playing games, that's how it works. And here you see a bunch of the characters on-chain, NFTs, that you can play with. It's a grand strategy game, and this is what makes it really, this is where people's mind starts to explode. You can zoom out all the way, just to go to a top-down view, and you can take control of not just one ship, but fleets of ships, multiple fleets of ships. You can send them to mine, you can send them to do combat, patrolling, to go scan, to go explore. It's a 4X game, for those who are familiar with the term. You can explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. It's territorial control, and you do want to control territory for both economic and strategic reasons. But that's not all. The game also comes with instanced arenas for tidbits of gameplay that exist in the persistent world. And one of those is gunplay. If you like deathmatch, if you like variants of that sort of gameplay, then you can actually jump in a training instance with your friends and just have fun, which is kind of cool. Something else you can do in the same regard is actually jump in the ship and go racing your friends or NPCs. And if racing is too boring for you, you can do combat racing and just blow each other up while racing. That can perhaps help you mask some of the racing skills you don't have. But if you're good in combat, let's have at it. So hopefully you get an impression of the insane ambitions that this game has and why I'm so enthusiastic about it. But that's not all. It's a blockchain game. And let me take a sip of water before I get into this. All right, and I have to really rush. So, we don't have assets. I mean, we have assets on chain like almost all the games. So you have NFTs and stuff, sure, it's fine. We have tokens on chain, been there, done that. It's all super cool. There's many promises that, yeah, you can bring your assets from game A to game B. Meh, perhaps, but that's not really why we're so enthusiastic about all this. Governance, though, on-chain governance, that's why we're very, very enthusiastic about this. But even further, the state and the logic of the game is on-chain. Again, there's a reason why there's 53,000 lines of code in Rust on-chain, is because the actual state and the logic of the core game is on-chain. And that comes with some pretty sweet benefits, so I'll go into it in a bit. So, MMO, it's actually a massively multiplayer on-chain game. Anyone can join and play the game. There's no central authority who gets to decide who's going to participate, who's not allowed to participate, no barriers to entry, open access, and ultimately even open source. The control and decision making lies with the DAO, which is supposed to be the community. And why you may know modding, again, perhaps if you're a gamer you do, this goes like miles beyond that because it's composable. You can access the backend of the game where you usually cannot, and you can plug and play. You can plug in different, admittedly, mostly Web 2 stuff on top of the Web 3 data. The community is creating tons of tools to visualize all kinds of stuff happening on-chain, which is just gameplay. Of course, the whole economy has been mapped out, but you could literally create alternative user interfaces for the game if you wanted to, or just an alternative interface for a small part of the game. If you, for some reason, let's say your ships are on a mission and you want to get notified when they arrive in their location, you could build a service just for that. That will send you a WhatsApp message or whatever you have, and will just alert you. And perhaps through even blinks, you could, why would you use blinks in Twitter? But let's say you could make like a small interface for you to, just with a single hit of a button, move your fleet away out of harm's way if you get an alert of impending enemy fleets going to your sector or what have you. It's completely insane. It's mind-boggling. And as I mentioned, it's on-chain. It's a forever game. The game will never go away. The code and the state live on-chain. Even if the development company stops tomorrow, c'est la vie. The game will still be here. And hopefully they'll hand us the keys and we can do some cool stuff. All right, very quickly, it's a two-token system. There's a currency for in-game purchases and that sort of stuff, and there's a governance token. Some quick metrics about the economy, and I see I really have to rush. The gross domestic product, 21 million, just for fun. That's 8.5% of the Greek GDP. Per capita, though, it's about 48% of the Greek GDP. So that's for those who care about those numbers. We have 10K in resource trades per day. This I really, really like. That is in-game economy. That is not like, yeah, we're 10K in ship trades and character. No, this is in-game resources that are being traded in-game to earn money, create ships, or do cool stuff. So this is the in-game economy. And we are blessed that the econ team is giving us quarterly reports, monthly meetings where they share stuff with us, and they actually build a web dashboard to complement the dashboards that the community created. So the economy is like one of the biggest elements of the game. Really cool stuff. All right, let's jump to the cool stuff, the stuff why you're all here, the DAO. So this is always something that I like to mention, for, again, being a gamer. Perhaps you've heard of this, perhaps you have not. But the story goes that Vitalik, of course, creator of Ethereum, actually created Ethereum, or that's suggested, because Warcraft nerfed his character. He was playing World of Warcraft, he liked it a lot. He had a favorite spell, and one day Blizzard, the developers, decided to nerf that spell, and he was pissed, he was sad, he was unhappy that a centralized authority just changed his favorite spell and his favorite character, and that made him realize stuff should be different. And that's, of course, exactly what we're doing here. We are back, a game, on-chain, and we're going to hand the reins to the DAO, so that not a centralized authority, but a decentralized authority is able to, if needs to, change spells or whatever. In this case, not spells, but yeah, you get the idea. So this is from the economic paper from 2021. The long-term vision of Stratless is an autonomous player-owned game, fully controlled and funded by decentralized governance. This was not something that the team figured out later. This has been built into the whole promise that they made from day one. So the DAO eventually is going to control the game and its IP. It's going to govern all the economic levers. It's going to govern all the in-game mechanics. It's responsible for the maintenance of the game, and it's tasked with contracting the core of non-core developers. And I put an asterisk here because I actually got this question yesterday as well, but it's can assume that they will hire experts to help them do this. But that's not a necessity. Again, it's up to the DAO. Very quickly, the DAO is actually a three-layered or three-tiered DAO. You probably would call the other ones sub-DAOs. Let's very briefly just hop through these. So first we have the top DAO, the status DAO, which is the one I'm talking about. This is the one that currently exists. It runs the monetary policy, it does the treasury management, and again, in the future, it will do the game-wide decision making. Then there's a faction DAO, and there are 3 factions in the game, and each faction has their own in-game DAO that is able to vote on stuff like the warfare coordinations, like should we declare war on a different faction or what? Tax policies that may exist, again, in-game. This is all in-game stuff. Regional DAOs, that's more for star systems, so the factions contain multiple star systems, or like dozens, but there could be, there will be small clusters of star systems, and they can have local tax incentives and have their own internal governance to go on about that. So quick timeline. I'm just going to take a sip while you perhaps check this out. This is all the way up to now. I'm going to completely skip over everything. We are a foundation. We're registered in the Caymans. Off-chain voting goes live. I mean, you can see 2024. We currently don't yet have on-chain voting, but I'm very happy at least we got off-chain voting, which is a lot like Snapshot, basically, for those who are well known with Ethereum. And the current mandate is limited to just treasury. I mean, the game is being created. We cannot, at this point in time, start making decisions on the game development, because that would just grind development to a halt. We should let the chefs cook. It was their idea, their vision. Once they're done, they'll give us the reins. Up until here, we're able to actually just see how we can distribute the 3 million, or, well, perhaps not distribute it, but at least take care of that 3 million and distribute parts of it to projects that are boosting the ecosystem in a way. In the future, clearly we're going to go to on-chain voting. We would like to have on-chain discourse as well. I mean, we've been hearing stories about it today as well. Possible mandate expansion, but in the end, that's the holy grail. Transition of control from Automata, which is the name of the developer, to the Status DAO and making Status fully open source. Yeah, it's going to be wild. So let me just quickly skip through this slide. All right, so voting, governance. At this point in time, you can stake your polis, which is the governance token, in a solution that is built on Tribeca. We have been hearing about that before as well. It's no longer maintained. Fortunately, when we move to on-chain voting, this will be kind of disassembled and redone. Anyway, you can lock your polis between 2 and 5 years. Some interesting numbers. They're pretty awesome, but I'm just going to gloss over them for now. The point is, this provides you polis voting power, PVP as we call it, and that's the stuff that you need to actually partake in the governance process. As I mentioned, it's currently like Snapshot, but actually stored in a database. It's not in the interplanetary file system, which is where Snapshot stores their stuff. It's off-chain account verification. Fortunately, the vote records and the signatures are published for verification. So anybody, and I realize nobody did that just yet, but anybody could write a script to actually verify that these were indeed all valid votes. We currently support 2 voting styles, simple majority and single transferable vote. You may not know about the second. I'll briefly get into it, probably in a little bit, if I remember my slides. This is just what it looks like, our governance dashboard with the last 2 council elections, actually, votes. But yeah, single transferable vote, it's a pretty cool thing. It's a variant of ranked choice voting, for those who are familiar with that. It basically means that you can create a list of options and people don't choose one, they put them in order. Again, will be too long to go into the exact mechanics, but basically the idea is that if somebody gets a ton of votes, then the overflow of those votes are not wasted. They will actually go to the second and or third. They will cascade down. And in that sense, you can actually, and that's what I like the most, you can vote for the underdog as well, because if the underdog doesn't get enough votes, then they will be eliminated and their votes will flow to their second choice, etc. It's a really cool system that I hope to see actually come on chain at some point. All right, DAO Council. The DAO Council is a small group of representatives, not delegates, that have been elected to represent the DAO. And we are specifically asked to guide and organize the governance process. And that sounds like pretty tall, like organize the process. I mean, the process is already there, but we've been asked to tweak it. Basically, we're shepherds. We're trying to help people make proposals, and we're trying to lower the barrier to entry in the governance process, which is the current primary focus. Top actions, some stuff that we have been doing. We have first been compiling a DAO knowledge base because the DAO information was scattered so far, so we brought everything together. We formalized the life cycle from a rough idea to an implementable proposal. And we're doing a lot more stuff. We're actually busy with all of these things. Again, in order to lower the threshold. One of the biggest issues we currently, of course, have is, cool, there is a DAO, but what do we do with it? How can I participate? How does it work? What do I need to do to make a proposal and all that cool stuff? So we're making templates, creating AI bots, we're hosting office hours and whatever we can to help that. Because another one, the DAO should do something is what we hear a lot. The DAO should do X, Y, and Z. But people somehow don't yet understand that they are the DAO. The DAO is not, there is not an executive branch that is going to do everything that people want. You are the DAO. So either you make a proposal, or you're going to say, cool, I would like to help with this. Can somebody write a proposal? Can we make a group of whatever? It's an issue. We also have people say, hey, the DAO should reach out to Jupiter because they're doing something cool. Yeah, that's cool. Can you do that now, please? I mean, it sounds like a great idea. Do reach out. But yeah, people are starting with this. We're trying to alleviate that by currently working on something called working groups, which is literally, I mean, it's kind of like just a fake thing. Like, sure, if you want to be a working group for Jupiter, then you are now officially a working group for Jupiter. Go reach out and see if we can do cool stuff together. But in essence, they didn't need that. They could just have done that already if they wanted to. All right. Going to kind of blast through this. This is the legislative process. What do I want to say here? I mean, we have ideation, which is currently just toss a topic in a Discord forum. Then we do a temperature check. If we can get 25 thumbs up, okay, cool. Then now you are allowed to actually make a proper draft. Again, you can, at this point, you will go to a knowledge base, double check what the template looks like, and just go ahead and write a formal draft for a proposal. Then the council is tasked with reviewing that, which we'll do. And if it adheres to the template, if it contains all the information that needs to be in there, if it doesn't clearly result in major issues, then you can proceed to the next phase, which is it will go to the foundation for evaluation by them. And then it will become a votable proposal. People will vote, it will be implemented. And there are still some safeties here and there, but just to keep things simple. All right, wow, that was a whole story about that part. So, there's one more governance layer, though, that we didn't talk about. And that's because that layer doesn't really, is not owned, it's not a sub-DAO. It actually exists next to the game. And that's the guild layer, which the team has termed decentralized autonomous corporations, because they figured the guild in our game, given that we are like a real life, like full-scale, almost nation-like economy, corporations make more sense, and we kind of hope that everybody will go the DAO route. So that's what they are. So you can kind of ignore the graphic. Like, they are everywhere to some extent. Hopefully not like this is actually an insane extent as we visualized here, but they can actually supersede regional DAOs because they can be bigger. They can own several star systems. They will never own a full faction, hopefully. And of course, they will also try to play a big role in the status DAO because they want to make sure that the game is going in the direction that their guild wants. So there's a lot of back and forth between the two, but they're completely separate. And let's talk now about one of them, which is Aephia Industries. So, going to rush through this because I think the last bit is the most interesting, but Aephia Industries is not a traditional guild. It's definitely not a Web3 gaming guild, which is something I personally, well, let's say friendly, don't like very much. Traditional guilds, basically, if you know World of Warcraft or any other game, is usually camaraderie, people playing together, becoming potentially friends if everything goes right, or nemesis, like enemies, but hopefully not. They're working together on game progression, doing end-game content, potentially training. Web3 gaming guilds is completely different. It's just actually a corporation. They're trying to earn profits from Web3 games through matching members with the assets that they have secured, usually with some kind of sweetheart deal from a game, because the game would like to get players, and that's kind of how they buy players. I know that they have tried to polish up their image a little bit over the last few years, but that's basically what they are. We don't like them. We like to do things differently. We're trying to actually become one of the first metaverse enterprises that's fully owned by its members. So actually, I have a slide on that. So what sets Aephia apart is, and I will talk from a we form because I am Aephia, of course, is our commitment to decentralized ownership. Players will own and govern the entire enterprise. And that will also mean that they will earn ownership and profits will flow to them as well. We don't have investors. We don't want to have investors. We just like to keep everything player-owned, buying for the players, and we think that's going to be a total success. So some quick statistics. We have been in existence almost as long as the game. Full focus on Star Atlas. So also unlike Web3 gaming guilds that are just looking for where they can go to the next game, with like Locust. Our internal focus is spaceship crafting. If you caught this from my intro in Star Atlas, it's that spaceships are highly important. You do everything with them. And such it made sense to focus actually on going into the crafting business. We have 600 registered members. I will admit they're not all active anymore because over 4 years you lose a lot of people. Unfortunately with the bear and bull cycle and people who lost faith and whatever, but all right. And our current mission is growing the pie and building infra. Growing the pie, that's just promoting Star Atlas, which is kind of what I'm doing here today to some extent as well. Building infra is kind of our main thing. So we're trying to build a gamified layer of tools and services that are tightly wrapping Star Atlas to actually bring additional gamified loops to our members that focus on ship production. We call this, or we like to call this, a layer 2 or meta layer of sorts, and that's why that's here. The goal is basically to create a new additional fun experience for players to partake in, that actually, in a way that it actually aids our core operations in game. All right, the last part, but this is the important one, governance.
Cool. Let's go. Let's
all right.
One take.
So this is something where we really completely deviate from everything else you've so far seen, I think, in the DAO world, or at least to my understanding. We're doing merit-based. That comes with a few things, but I'll get into that. So, merit-based, before I get really into it, how do we do it? So, the first step is we need to measure merit. And we're looking at the most simple way to do it at this point in time, which is we're looking at member contributions. So we're basically implementing tools to measure member contributions, and we're storing those metrics currently in a database. It's all Web 2 because we can rapidly prototype and try stuff out before, hopefully, this is still our goal, move everything on chain at some point. And then, because not everything is equal in importance, some stuff we care about a lot more than other stuff, we apply a custom merit multiplier to each metric, and that will then determine your voting power / weight. So this is just a very simple example. It's much bigger, the actual one. There's several activities, and we go so far even as to just simply check how active you are on Discord in our server. But there's also actually reputation to be gained on other servers. For those who are familiar with the bot, what was it called? Yak something, it's a very famous one, doesn't really matter. It's actually keeping track of people's reputation. Like if people get thanked a lot, then it's actually checking that. And that's also something we like on the Star Atlas server. We like our members to go there and actually help people out. And if they're doing that, then they're also a force for good, and it's something we like. Then, of course, partaking in our upcoming governance is definitely something we would like to rank and score. So if you're voting, if you're making a proposal that becomes successful, you will earn actually, again, voting weight. So it's in that sense, a bit of a loop.
I mean,
Then the DAO, and the DAO just means like if you are a management member or doing anything that's not in-game, it's not
I was just
in any of the Discord or governance, like you're, again, managing things, or you have to take meetings with folks, and perhaps you're an emissary to other guilds or whatever. Like it's stuff that we can't really track, so it needs to be a role, and that role be assigned points as well. And then the last bit is what I mentioned on layer 2, is basically in-game contributions. And since everything is on-chain, we can measure that. We can just see, okay, cool, you've done this, and that indeed helped us, so thanks, we'll give you some points. You see here some multipliers. They are, of course, just vague representations, but just to see that we scored Discord, of course, at the very bottom is fun, but it shouldn't take too much, put too much weight into the scale. Governance, a bit more, but especially the in-game contributions, and the DAO is where it's at. And these numbers together will then form your voting weight. And of course, you can imagine that day by day, that should then increase if you're actively participating. So, what do we do then? Like, cool, now we have voting weight. It's currently stored in a Web2 database. We could mint tokens, and then you could stake those tokens in realms, and voila, you would have your voting power now locked into realms, and you can partake in the DAO process. And then tomorrow you can add the additional tokens that you've earned since that time. But that basically means that we're kind of using tokens just for this small intermediate part, because we need somehow to work with realms, and realms needs tokens. So we figured, no, let's not do that. Let's try to do something drastically different. We're actually planning to have our members mint their own member pass whenever they want, but they will have to if they want to partake in the voting process, which is going to be a core NFT, and it will be soul-bound. We will then write the voting weight to this badge, to this pass that you have, as an on-chain attribute, and then we're looking to, I mean, it says stake the pass. That's not necessarily what will happen, but I'm not entirely sure yet how it will work. Perhaps it will exactly happen like that. But we're hoping to create, or have somebody create, a Realms plugin, plugin that will actually check the on-chain attribute and use that voting weight instead of just saying, okay, you have one NFT, it's one. Because everybody has one NFT, it's just that this on-chain attribute will actually represent your voting weight. And we think this is it's closer to us, because we are, again, a DAOx, a sort of guild / metaverse enterprise corporation in-game. We're gamifying everything. We're giving you a member badge that will be gamified in itself. It will also show various things. You can earn custom skins. If you're a part of the great battle of whatever, then you'll probably earn a memento that you can add to your badge. Do your pass, and this will be just an additional on-chain attribute that is not visualized, but it will be there, and it will actually inform realms with your staking weight. So, that was it, and I think I almost made it in time. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? I would love to go into them. Yes, B-Man. Let's have it.
Thank you very much for giving us an insight in this. I'm a very lousy gamer, so I have no idea, but I've got some ideas around crypto. What I'm most interested in is, how do you actually transact from inside a game? Is there like an in-app wallet? Is that part of the UI?
Yes. One of the first things they did is actually create a wallet in Unreal Engine. Yeah, and that's actually open source, so other people can actually take that and run with it.
You know I like that thing.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Thanks a lot, amazing.
Yeah, sure thing.
Hello, how are you doing? My name is Panos. I was following actually Star Atlas since the very beginning.
Awesome.
You know Michael Liu?
Yes.
Very good friend of mine. We worked back in the days together. Yeah.
That's a team member, by the way.
Yeah, very OG. So he was talking to us about the white paper and everything. So super awesome fun. The very interesting thing I see with Star Atlas is a first Web3 game that actually also stores kind of like the gameplay on chain.
Yep.
Which comes with a lot of challenges, right? So
yes.
How did you manage to do this live gaming kind of progress on chain?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So I have to be honest here. That's why I always mention the core state is on-chain and the core logic. If you're running around an Unreal Engine, we're not storing your position from second to second or minute to minute. That's not happening at all. In fact, at this very point in time, of course, we're in development, so I'm not sure where we will end up. We're basically storing that you are in this sector of space, and the minute you leave that sector, then it will have to be an on-chain transaction. But within that sector, there can be one complete star system. So even if you move from planet A to planet B, that would not be on-chain at this point in time. I'm not sure if and of course I'm not working for them, but I'm not sure if they will go there. They may, but the intent is not so much to keep track that you are currently sitting in this lovely inn on that lovely planet somewhere. It's just that you are here, and if you're going to move any of your assets to different sectors and partake in mining or specific industrial or anything actually that will earn you something or will change some state, then it's all on chain. But the micro stuff that's currently happening in Unreal Engine, like walking around, shooting people, is not currently on chain. I know Magic Leap, is that the name? Not Magic Leap, I'm missing Magic Block, sorry. Magic Block is working, of course, on an ephemeral system where you can literally shoot bullets and every bullet is registered on chain. It's in like an ephemeral L2. I know the team is aware of all these things, but as far as I am aware, they're not currently looking into going that far. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
So you mentioned planets. Is Earth one of them? And how mature is it? And is there like, do we have one-to-one mapping? And if the answer to all this is yes, where do you suggest I should pitch some weather elements into that?
Yeah, I love it. So Earth is not actually in there. This is a sci-fi space story that plays out 600 years in the future. Earth plays a big role, but Earth no longer exists. Unfortunately, I have to share with you guys and girls. So it's a completely different system. There's no mapping whatsoever either. There's actually a small bit of Earth that is still out there, and that's like the current home base of a remnant of humans. But again, this is all lore. It's pretty fantastic. I mean, I can go. They're producing their own comic series that goes into some of the historic stuff. So yeah, it's fantastic. But no Earth, so no weather stations are needed yet, as far as I'm aware. But who knows? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ronald. That was great.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we've got.